I had mentioned earlier also. Okay, basically when the advanced version of third generation, or you can consider it like some advanced version of telecom services is registered, or when it is invented. Okay, so this architecture is called to be as a long term evaluation. Okay, and further it is called as 4G architecture or fourth generation. So just keep it in mind, like the question is asked to explain the LTE, then you can explain this 4G architecture. As in previous case, while learning this 3G's architecture, even though, okay, it is called as in short UMTS. Okay, so in similar manner it is called as LTE. So the serving gateway responds to the delivered information in a such a way that whether it has to be delivered to the PDN gateway, or whether this information is coming from first time, or whether the information is coming from the already connected region, or the information is coming from already connected link. So it will automatically understand based on that. Okay, now here next one is PDN gateway, that is packet data network gateway. Both again function is very similar, as we have already learned what is the role of this GGSIN, or gateway GPRS support node, while learning third generation architecture. Okay, so in similar way, in this case also, this PDN gateway, that is packet data network gateway, is responsible to contact with the outside network. Okay, so in short, this PDN gateway is interacting with the outside public network or internet, or any public network you can consider. Okay, now always remember, this is purely a packet database network. Okay, so whatever the information is coming from the outside network, okay, so basically the outside device will always try to contact to the ISP through this PDN gateway only. Now this gateway is in short acting as one kind of middleware device or routing device also, you can consider, between the outside network or public network and the internet service providers network, or in short ISP. Now when this PDN gateway is interacting with the outside network, okay, all over whatever be the IP addressing part, whatever be part is related to the network address translation, that is NAT protocols, or whatever be protocols are established or maintained between the end server, okay, who is across the network, everything. Okay, so everything will be managed by this PDN gateway only. Okay, now as you can see, or you can see in this diagram here, this PCRF, or policy based charging rule functioning. Okay, so this is a server. I'm going to draw this further in more depth, okay, because in detail, this is right now for understanding purpose I have just drawn this part, just try to understand it. So here again, all time this PDN gateway will try to communicate through this PCRF, okay, and it will try to verify the user details from this PCRF again. Okay, and whatever be services, whatever be standards which comes under services, okay, so those are always stored in this PCRF, and always it will be verified through this PDN, through this GX. Now GX is a particular type of link used, okay, between PDN and PCRF. So in short, this is one sort of medium you can remember. Okay, so this piece through this PDN gateway is going to verify, okay, all time the details from this PCRF, okay, and then only it will be proceed, or the information will be delivered to the public network or to the internet. So this is the main role of PDN gateway, that is packet data network gateway. So don't get confused. Okay, it's working is even the very simple thing, even though all components are even though very simple. Okay, if you have understood the previous architectures, it might be GSM 3G, okay, or GPRS. Okay, little bit the functionality is same, the points are similar, just what is been upgraded you should understand, and which components are not available here, and which component is playing the role of that particular previous component. If you try to understand this part, it's working is very easy. Okay, so you can remember those components, like first of all the information will be received through this wireless station. Okay, so this wireless station in this case is called to be as e-nodes. Okay, then x2 link comes. The x2 link is connected to the multiple it can be connected to the multiple e-nodes, that is in short wireless stations. The wireless stations can exchange the information between them through a high speed wired medium. Okay, further this e-nodes or the particular wireless stations are connected to the high speed links, you can consider it, which are in short S1C and S1U. Okay, so one of the link is nothing but the temporary link, which is established temporary unless until the required work is not done. Another link is the permanent link. Okay, so through that permanent link, unless until that user is not disconnected from the ISP, okay, this link will be maintained. Okay, now again I'm repeating, everything is with respect to the 4G architecture. Okay, where the information is exchanged for internet purpose only. Okay, and after that, how does this mobility management entity handles the data? How does it diverts the data? Okay, corresponding to the user. Okay, that is based on user's data, whether it has to be delivered to the through S11 link or whether it has to be delivered to the HSS. So again, it is the role of MME. So we already learned recently. Then okay, we have also seen that how does this serving gateway is acting as the middle gateway inside this ISP. Okay, who delivers the data accordingly. Okay, that is when the data is received from MME or through user directly. Okay, it is responsible to tackle that data, and further this data will be delivered to the PDN gateway, that is packet data network gateway. Now again, PDN gateway is connected to the policy charging rule functioning, okay, through GX link. So in short, this PCRF is responsible to gone through the current status of user, including so many points. It might be what is the current status of user's subscription, which services has been subscribed by the end user, what is the current balance within this user, what is the validity of that user, and so on. So many points are there. Okay, now even though it's not just only one function which is played by this PCRF, okay, another very important role is also quality of services also. Okay, so how does this quality of service is maintained through this PCRF? I'll let you know in upcoming minutes. Okay, so this is PCRF, and in short, again, PDN gateway, okay, who interacts with the outside network, who is responsible to exchange the information between the end user, two end users. It might be the server or it might be the user equipment or your actual user. So this PDN is actually responsible to exchange the information between the ISP and another end user, that is outside user, that is it might be server or another end user too, while exchanging the packet based information. Okay, so as I said, this PCRF is very important. Okay, where one role of this PCRF is again quality of services. Okay, so how does it is going to maintain the quality of service under 4G? Okay, so this is additional functionality is introduced in this 4G. Okay, now let's consider say a very simple example. in particular region, suppose, okay, let's say any user is moving around, okay, and let's say right now one user is connected in this region, suppose, okay, considered, say this is one user, and let's say this is another user, okay, and let's say this is your ISP. See, for understanding purpose only, I am going to explain you how does this quality of service is maintained through 4G architecture, and how does it is introduced in recent architecture. Okay, so this internet service provider, or say you can consider those are end devices who are already connected within a particular region or within a particular location, okay, of that particular ISP's region. So right now this user is using internet services, suppose, and right now the user statistics is with respect to the uploading and downloading speed. Let's say the calculation is done as 96%, suppose, uploading and downloading speed. Okay, let's say this user has the statistics of internet, that is the quality is measured in terms of internet, and let's say 93% is denoted as the quality provided to that end user. This is first user, this is another user. Okay, in similar way, let's say say 100 users are connected through this ISP again. Okay, so when the number of users are increased, okay, now suppose this user is getting the poor bandwidth, and let's say, okay, the quality of service is degraded to, so let's say 60%. Okay, for understanding purpose you can consider. Okay, so this sort of management is nowadays done in 4G architecture, remember. Okay, so even though the all users are connected, the users are increased, then how to manage the bandwidth through this E node B. Okay, this is one thing. And in particular region, okay, let's say the ISP might be have done the survey, and this ISP is providing its services across the n number of regions. So all regions will be studied. Okay, what is the current status of the quality of service provided under this 4G architecture all time. Okay, based on the parameters provided, okay, while defining the PCRF, that is the rules and regulations under that particular 4G services. So again, this kind of thing will be managed, okay, in particular location. If say the user may not be receiving the services subscribed under a particular internet service provider, so all those things, all those management based things will be again managed through this PCRF also. Okay, where the quality of service is also very important role under this PCRF. Remember, so many things you can go on through the some standard references also to understand how does the quality of service is maintained under 4G's architecture. Okay, we don't need to see this point in more depth, but you should remember how does this quality of service is maintained under this 4G architecture. Okay, so how does this PCRF is managing this point. Okay, so this is the role of PCRF. Now, okay, let's consider for understanding purpose, say there is any end server. Okay, let's say at this end, let's say there is any server. Okay, okay, say this is server. Okay, now what is the example in this case is, okay, let's again consider, say this end user, okay, is searching some content through its his web browser, suppose, or through any web application. Okay, now suppose user is looking for a particular URL, okay, through a particular web application. Okay, so web application will be, in short, again it's web browser, suppose, through which the user is trying to access this particular URL. Okay, so obviously in normal ways the user will try to hit the URL within web browser. Okay, and for more information I would suggest to go through my previous lecture sessions also, okay, where I have already explained you how does your web browser works, in short. Okay, and what are the steps. Like, first of all, you should enter the URL. Okay, so when the URL will be used by the user, okay, so based on that URL, again, first of all, in short, you are delivering the request to the corresponding server. Okay, so corresponding server in the sense, let's say in this case, if you are searching youtube.com as a website, then the corresponding server will be, in short, the Google's web server. Okay, very simple example. So that server is going to provide the requested information to the end user. Okay, so in short, the response will be received from that end user. Okay, so apart from the middle steps, okay, here also there will be so many steps. Okay, like this is not like directly response will be received, but assuming that all those steps are followed, and when the response is received from that particular end server, okay, this user will have the youtube.com as a home page. So in short, what will happen is, okay, first of all, the request will be delivered through this equipment, user equipment, through this eNodeB, through X2 link. Okay, again through another connected eNodeB. Okay, now remember one more thing here. Okay, when this eNodeB will receive the request, as I have already told you that the role of this S1C is temporary and S1U is permanent link is used. So when the first time this device is turned on, and when this device wish to make connection or wish to get connected to the internet service provider, so in short, in that case only this S1C will be used. Okay, where the user wishes to connect to that particular network. So in that time, this S1C, that is the temporary link, will be used. Okay, and once that user gets connected, okay, after following all steps, okay, it might be those steps, or it might be first the request step, as I had already mentioned earlier. So after that, there is no need to use this temporary link. Okay, so the information will be exchanged through this user plane, who is in short considered as one sort of a secured link. It will be delivered to the SGW. Again, SGW will deliver this information to the packet data network gateway. Okay, now again, meanwhile, as I had already mentioned you, okay, this PCRF will try to check the status, and parallelly it will try to update the data also. Very simple example, in this case, let's say this user is using internet. So what is the current usage of that user? What is the remaining balance of that user with respect to the internet based services, and so on. So such kind of activity will be again monitored by this PCRF, and parallelly, after having positive acknowledgement from this PCRF, this packet data network or say packet data network gateway, okay, will again transfer this data to the public network. Okay, and after through public internet, again it will be delivered to the server. Now again, server will respond to the end user. Okay, so in short, again, the end user for this server will be the internet service provider itself. Always remember, as we already learned the working of internet in previous lectures also. Further, again, all time this PDN will verify from PCRF, and after that it will be delivered to the SGW, that is serving gateway. Okay, and again the corresponding information will be received through this end user, that is through user equipment. Okay, so in short, in this way the response will be received. Okay, I have not mentioned the rest of the steps. It's not necessary what you should mention, but you should know what is the flow and through which components the information is passed for such kind of activity. So this is just only for searching the a particular URL. So once that response is received, the same response based resource code will be loaded into the web browser of this end user, and then user will have the desired output as the home page of youtube.com. Okay, so in fact it is a very simple thing. I hope you have understood the working. So for more details you can consider two types of examples also to understand its working. Again, I'm repeating same thing. Okay, now suppose, let's say this user, okay, the mobile device is turned on. So obviously first of all it should be the 4G enabled device, okay, which should capable to handle 4G based spectrum, okay, which that device should be 4G services should be managed by that particular device, or who is capable to handle 4G based information. So as I had told you that nowadays the SIM based information is also based on a particular technology based, like if it is related to the 4G, then 4G based SIM is developed or designed. Now again, next thing is your user equipment should be capable to handle this kind of hardware, that is this kind of SIM based information too. So by assuming that your device is already able to support to the 4th generation based information, okay, after that when this device is turned on, suppose, okay, it will try to deliver first of all the connection request. Okay, don't consider this YouTube example right now, since we are looking at how does this device will be connected to the ISP through 4G. So first of all, including all this information, the connection request will be delivered through eNode B, then through X2 link, through eNode B here again. Okay, since this is the first time connection request, so again it's not directly connected to the S1U. First of all, through temporary link, okay, the information will be delivered through MME, that is mobility management equipment. Okay, again it will be delivered to the HSS to verify the user details, so that the user will be connected to the ISP. Okay, after that this home subscriber server will verify the user details, including including same MSI, SDN and all. Then user will be approved. Okay, meanwhile again subsequently the user details will be again verified through this PCRF also. Okay, whether user is able to use 4G based services or not, what is the current status, what is the current balance, what is the services that has been subscribed by that user. Okay, and after that this SGW will deliver back the same acknowledgement to the HSS. Now here the HSS will generate the response, that is in short, the user is capable to connect to the 4th generation, that is to the 4G network. Okay, and subsequently again the user will be received by the same response, and after that only the user will be connected to the 4G network. Okay, so this is a flow which I had recently explained you. So this is the first part, that is when device gets turned on, what are the steps and how it should be connected to the ISP. Next part is, okay, how does this user is going to use internet based services. Okay, so for this purpose let me okay, now next part is how does this user is using internet through this 4G architecture. Okay, so for this purpose you can again consider this sort of example. Let's say right now user gets connected to the 4G. Now right now suppose user wish to use internet based services, again try to remind what I had told you in previous lectures. There are so many services, okay, like it might be calling service, okay, it might be delivering SMS service, okay, then say it might be using internet, okay. So many services are there, you can consider any service. So basically I'm going to consider this internet based service only. So let's say this user wish to use internet based service under 4G. Obviously so many services are there, okay. Even though if you consider its voice calling functionality, again the video call facility is also upgraded in this 4G architecture also, okay. This part is not included in this, where it supports voice over IP. This part is different one, so internet based working is different one, so don't get confused. So here when user is already get connected, now next thing is the user wish to access some services like internet service. So here in this case, okay, user wish to search suppose youtube.com as one sort of URL. So again you can explain through similar manner. There will be end server and okay, server in the sense we have considered the youtube.com as web page, so it comes under Google's web server. So again here the sequence will be through, okay, let me draw it with red color. So through E node B, through X2 link, through E node B, again through this S1U, okay, through SGW again, it will be verified through PCRF here, and PDN gateway is responsible to interact with outside network, through it will be delivered to the server. Again server will respond to the PDN, again in similar manner it will be verified through GX, through PCRF, through SJW, and obviously in similar way it will be received by that end user basically. So this is for internet based application. So instead of this you can explain by considering another applications also, like Facebook application, WhatsApp application, any web based application. You can consider 4G architecture and you can explain in that way also. So I hope you have understood this architecture in a more depth, okay, and how does it works, and based on that which sort of examples can be asked, okay. So just try to compare same architecture with previous one, and you will find that this 4G architecture is more advanced, even though it is not more complicated, and how does it purely supports packet based information also, okay. Thank you.